human, and not have a look at a different one on intelligence. Okay, so HUMINT is probably the most well-known intelligence collection method, and this isn't very long. The subject of numerous movies, novels, and TV shows like James Bond, Homeland, or any John le Carré novel. HUMINT is the practice of recruiting human sources to provide privileged information. So how does it work? A source is usually identified and cultivated by an agent or intelligence officer. Agents are always on the lookout for new sources through a process known as talent spotting. Potential HUMINT sources are screened against different factors to determine their ability to be recruited and act as a spy. Agents will be trained to determine the following factors about a potential source: access to classified information, motivations, money, ideology, or ego perhaps, ability to provide required information, patterns of life, so as to not arouse suspicion. Over time, the agent builds a strong rapport with the source before using their motivation to recruit them as a spy. HUMINT can be collected from people who are willing participants, recruited sources, or detained persons. In some cases, HUMINT is collected officially by declared agents who conduct liaison with different agencies. Okay, so I know that they have an ultimate guide as well, so I'm probably going to read this as well. Yeah, might as well. Okay, the ultimate guide to human intelligence. HUMINT involves collecting information through a variety of conversational techniques in a wide variety of circumstances. HUMINT operators are typically referred to as intelligence officers who use talent spotting, rapport building, and source recruitment to collect on information requirements. In this article, we dive into the world of HUMINT and discuss the role of HUMINT operators, aka intelligence officers, the trait of successful HUMINT officers, the skills and tradecraft used in HUMINT, the training required to become a successful HUMINT collector, difference between HUMINT and other intelligence collection methods, and HUMINT resources you can use for more information and training. I'm just going to take a little drink. Okay. Roles of HUMINT operators. The role of a good HUMINT officer is to identify sources and groups who have access to required information, usually secret or classified information, and build relationships to extract or collect this information. While HUMINT collectors are probably best known for their role in recruiting spies and foreign agents, they routinely collect and report information from friendly forces, civilians, refugees, and local inhabitants too, as is the picture up here. HUMIT operators also work in liaison roles with other agencies or foreign militaries, screen various personnel, or serve as an interrogator of captured enemy personnel or suspected criminals. HUMIT personnel may even infiltrate a group or agency. All of these functions require different skills, some of which overlap. HUMIT skills and tradecraft. The skills needed for successful HUMIT collection require extensive training depending on the situation or application. A good HUMIT collector must be able to do all of the following and much more.
It's 15 hours.
Okay. I'm going to keep my drink with me because I've got a feeling my throat's going to go. Okay. Profile a target to include their core motivations, needs, wants, and even their dreams and temper triggers. Recognize someone as a viable target, a skill known as talent spotting. Leverage the information they know about a person to steer them into a specific course of action. So that's like how can I explain that one? So they have information, a person will have information, and you'll lead them to do something to the person that they've got information on. I think that's what it is. I don't know. Okay. Leverage the information they know about a person to steer them into a specific course of action. Yes, so like pitting two brothers, one brother hates another brother who's like a warlord, and he knows information about said brother, and you steer him in a way where he gives you all the information that you want by telling him by egging him on, and then getting him so wound up that he kills the brother. Okay. Understand and recognize mood shifts and nuances in conversation, a skill known as emotional intelligence. We did talk about that. Understand body language, facial micro expressions. Micro expressions, think of lie to me. Think of Tim Roth looking at you, looking deeply at your face as you make little movements that he can tell you're lying. Okay. And other tiny, barely perceptible clues to a target's mindset. Successfully use specific techniques to maneuver the target into the place you need them to mentally, emotionally, or psychologically be. So that would actually go with what I said up here. So that would overlap, if that makes sense. Okay. Approach, motivate, and maintain networks of sources and contacts. So that would be making sure that you keep in touch with the contacts you have. Motivate them to give you more information or other information. Okay. Sometimes become other people, taking on personalities or roles outside of who they normally are. Okay, so that's pretending to be someone they're not. Okay. There's a video here. It looks like an army video. Now I'm going to download this, and I'm not going to play it because I don't want to be done by YouTube or them. So you can watch that at your own time. This video will be in this anyway when I put in the tabs, so you can watch it at your own leisure. Profiling. In the world of HUMIT, profiling means being able to understand someone to such a great degree that you can somewhat predict their feelings and actions. Profiling is required to identify someone's motivations, or ultimately they can be recruited to provide the required information. Recruitment can occur over a prolonged period with multiple interactions to build rapport and trust over a period of minutes in an interview or conversation. Profiling involves having an intimate understanding of the following: a person's strengths and weaknesses, including the ones they are in denial about or unaware of, their risk factor to your operation and goals. So whether they're going to be a liability, whether they're going to snitch and be a double agent and snitch on you to the people they're telling you about, their credibility and reliability. So whether they're like they're reliable in the things they do, and whether they'll give you the information or not, or lie. How they'll behave or react in a variety of situations. So will they panic and go and tell because they're being threatened by like the mob boss? And I keep saying mob boss, that's the first thing that came into my head, mob boss. Whether the mob boss sends a goon over to like rough him up a bit and be like, yeah, you tell and you die and I kill your family. And then they're like, I can't do this. How to best leverage all of this information for a successful interaction, whether it be long term or short term. Okay. How to leverage. Sorry about this, guys. The action of a lever or the mechanical. How to use leverage in a sentence. Okay, that's a different word. That's a different word. I take it this is, yeah, I thought so. Leverage. Using given resources to magnify a financial outcome. The ability to influence another side in negotiations. Okay. There we go. So we know now. It's just, I knew what it was, I just couldn't put it into words. I'm not very good at putting things into words sometimes, so. There we go. The level of understanding does not come easily in most cases. It often takes a literal study of the target, along with a varying amount of time. There are various techniques that help HUMIT professionals recognize various traits and motivations to be leveraged either in the moment or later as part of an approach. The core of profiling is understanding what motivates a person. For some, it's validation or acceptance. For others, it may be power or ego. Okay. There are several different possible motivators, and each one can be leveraged to steer the target. If done properly, the target will not know he has been steered. He will only react, perhaps not even aware of why he is compelled to say or do what he is doing. Psycholinguistics. That's a long word. Psycholinguistic profiling is a tactic used by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other federal law enforcement agencies, as well as more espionage-based entities. A person's language gives many clues as to not only their guilt or innocence in a given situation, but also exposes who they are at their core, what their priorities are, and often how they can be best exploited. I like that meme. Okay, so let's actually have a little look at that quickly. It's an interdisciplinary field that consists of researchers from a variety of different backgrounds, including psychology, cognitive science, linguistics, speech and language pathology, and discourse analysis. The discipline is mainly concerned with the mechanisms by which language is processed and presented in the mind and brain. That is, the psychological and neurobiological factors that enable humans to acquire, use, apprehend, and produce language. Okay. Human terrain mapping. The core of HUMIT is human terrain mapping. Just as topography maps outline mountains and valleys, offering landmarks and allowing someone to forge a path, human terrain mapping outlines the path that a collector should take to or even through a human target. Okay, what is this? mapping the human terrain. 24th. Okay. After over a month of heavy fighting in Gusmere District, southern Helmand Province, Marines of the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit settled down to the tedious routines of counterinsurgency. They carried out a census in the surrounding villages, mapping human terrain. And if that leads back to that article. Oh, they don't even lead to anything. Okay. I'm not going to read that, but I will go back and we'll have a little look. Okay. Was a United States training doctor and support of personnel from the social sciences and linguistics, provide military commanders and staff with an understanding of the local population. Oh, so understanding the area. Okay. Okay, US. Geospatial. Well, that's not human, is it? Okay. Human terrain programs are critical features. So, what conception of the human is being mapped and secured in human terrain programs? Counterculture, encountering the human in human terrain mapping. Are critical human terrain programs, HTPs, are critical features of counterinsurgency operations in the world of war of terror. Understanding population as the key theatre of warfare in Iraq and Afghanistan. Culture is seen as the relational dimension through which this human terrain is interpreted, navigated, mapped, and secured. I'm going to make this bigger because I can't see it very well. Thank you. Okay. Seeking to explore the significance of this key strategic shift from war's initial reliance on overwhelming, highly technical military forces to populate-centric and even anthropological tactics. This study discusses what new forms of boundaries and relations are inscribed by an animated through such cartographies. First setting out the changing scene of security and warfare in the 21st century, and relations of war and power that operate over and through populations domestically and globally Foucault's account of biopower. I then explain HTP's aim and operations through the writings. Okay. Okay. That sounds a bit complicated. So it's basically just surveilling the area and the people and things like that. That's how I see it. For poverty, extremism and pandemic disease to predict the next national security. If you're going to highlight the hallways, that is, if you're escorted through the hallways of the national city okay. Okay, that might be something. And probably asking local people about areas and stuff as well. Like, oh, is there any like rivers or anything, or is there somewhere that looks desolate and things like that. Asset training. In HUMIT work, professionals need to be able to find, recruit and maintain various contacts, information sources and even subordinates that can perform various tasks, such as moving messages or serving as a cutout. Assets are chosen based upon a wide variety of criteria, including their personalities, their level of access to a specific program or information, and their ability or willingness to be exploited or recruited. There are different types of recruits, and HUMIT targets don't always have to be high profile. For example, a factory worker on an aerospace project can be a highly valuable source of information. Other potential sources could be the wife or significant other of your actual target. Okay. In some cases, one may even recruit several degrees away from the main target. So think of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So you might not get Kevin Bacon. They might not choose the actor on the second bit, but they might choose number 5 person. Slowly working their way closer to the goal. So, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna become friends with. So, they give you an example here. A barista at a coffee shop frequented by people who hold information you want in hopes of gleaning information from an overheard conversation, or someone who works out at a gym with the person you eventually want to approach. Consideration. Sometimes assets recruit back and human professionals need to be able to recognize those efforts. Defectors, walk-ins, and other individuals who seek to offer information or place themselves in a position to be recruited could be looking to fulfill a role in another opposing operation. So someone who comes willingly, it's like, yeah, I'll give you all the information you want. My brother, they could be going back to the brother and telling them things. Okay. Human collectors can sometimes be in an incredible amount of danger while attempting to recruit a source or asset. So about the recruiting, what they might do is say, there's someone at the gym and he overhears conversations from them, but then he might get friendly with the friend that they're over talking and he can recruit the friend, kind of thing. Okay. Okay, training required. Building rapport and interpersonal communications. One of the biggest weapons in a human professional's arsenal is the ability to be disarming, to build that interpersonal rapport. Human operators must be able to carry on conversations with strangers in a friendly, engaging way, building rapport by pushing the right buttons. How? Start engaging people with trivial comments about the weather, the game on the weekend, or their shoes. It doesn't matter. Personally, I like to note the front page of the newspaper each day when I get my coffee. Then I use the headline as a conversation starter. Keep in mind that rapport doesn't necessarily mean that the source likes or cares about the human professional. In fact, it's possible to have a level of dislike from the source and yet still have a valuable informational relationship. Building rapport is about doing what is necessary to facilitate the transfer of information. In some cases, a source may respond better to an authoritative or even rude persona. It all goes back to the profiling and adaptability. Tip: one of the best resources on this topic is the book How to Win Friends and Influence Them. And what I will do now is, while we're here, while I remember, I shall, because I know they have it here, on here, because I've seen it before. So there's some here, and I'll put this in that page as well. I'll probably even put a copy of a PDF of the book in the filing cabinet as well for you. Okay. Elicitation. Okay. Elicitation is the act of collecting information that the target is unaware they're giving. This is often done in the form of a casual conversation about a seemingly unrelated subject, meant to pull information while the target thinks they're just chatting with them. Not every human collection effort involves a full-on recruitment, in which the person being approached knows they are expected to provide information or perform an action. While people who have secrets or access to certain types of information are often on guard while in their official capacity or work-related situations, they may not be as vigilant in off-duty scenarios. Casual conversations at these times, especially if they occur over multiple interactions and while steering clear of sensitive or problematic topics, can often net big informational rewards. Profiling plays a heavy role, and human collectors become very adept at recognizing human needs that can be exploited at the moment. Someone who likes to complain, for instance, can be leveraged if someone offers them a chance to be heard. Think about that Think of that dissatisfied colleague at work who just loves to complain if given a supportive ear. Someone who needs to feel important or has a high-functioning ego may be a bit more loosely spoken if they are complimented or looked up to. Certain human traits and needs lend themselves well to exploitation, and a savvy human collector understands both those traits and how to recognize and leverage them in a variety of ways, often on the fly. First contact and approach. The first contact with a potential recruit or target when looking to recruit or flip a source is a critical one. In the first instance, introducing yourself in a human professional working for X entity who wants information from them is obviously a bad idea. Instead, human collectors often look for an opportunity to meet the target by chance or be introduced by a mutual acquaintance. In some cases, they seek to become part of the target's background, such as the barista or fellow gym goer, in an effort to slide into the target's world in a natural way and take advantage of opportunities to chat with them. In an interrogation scenario, however, the dynamics is much different. The target is well aware that the human professional wants information and may employ a number of strategies in order to prevent that goal from being realized. In an approach situation, regardless of whether it takes place in an interrogation room, a foreign village, or your local coffee shop, there are three things that they all have in common. An approach establishes and maintains a level of conversational control over not only the individual event, but the overall collection effort as well. An approach must begin and maintain a level of increasing rapport with the source or target. If the source does not have a level of trust with the collector, they will not give information. Create a valid profile for the source, in which suspected motives, needs, wants, emotional stability, cultural mores, and other information is confirmed and leveraged successfully. There are certain situations in which people also tend to be more forthcoming with information. If a target is in a very stressful or frightened position, for instance, the first person they talk to who shows them kindness and compassion is in a great position to glean information. People also tend to open up when they think they are speaking to someone who shares their worldview. Therefore, a non-judgmental reaction, no matter what is confessed to or talked about, is crucial. Law enforcement uses this tactic often when talking to suspects in violent or sexual-based offences. So, I'm gonna also take this. There we go. A sympathetic posture is often more effective, regardless of one's own feelings are about the subject matter being discussed. There's another video if you want to watch it as well. The successful human professional. Human intelligence is far more than just talking to people. In order to do all these things, the collector must possess the following traits: patience, alertness, credibility, integrity, objectivity, self-control, self-discipline, adaptability and flexibility, perseverance, I thought it was that word, but my mouth couldn't put that word around. So how do you become a human collector? While most human collectors get their start in the military or a federal agency such as the CIA, there are other avenues to a career in human, including the select few colleges with a human program. These programs are generally taught by former or current professionals in the field. During these programs, would-be human collectors learn skills like elicitation, profiling, and human terrain mapping, among many, many others. For more information, see our popular post on the Ultimate Guide. Okay. HUMIT versus other collection sources. There are many different intelligence disciplines, and each one brings its own pros and cons to the table. Comparatively speaking, HUMIT offers a literal up-close and personal view of the collection process, as opposed to SIGNET or IMNET, which can do its work across the globe from its target. It requires no technical knowledge or equipment and can be done on a desolate mountaintop in Afghanistan, as well as a crowded venue in New York City. HUMIT does have a few drawbacks. It's the most subjective of all the disciplines and arguably requires the most fluid of skills. In addition, there's more of a margin of error. If the collector misuses cues, fails to properly build rapport, or is not adept at deception detection, they could be fed false or misleading information. I like that. I might actually save that one because that's quite funny actually. Conclusion. HUMIT is not the best or worst type of intelligence. It's merely different than many of its more technical counterparts. Not everyone is cut out to be a HUMIT collector, and the training can be intense. It is, however, an extremely rewarding career if one can learn to do it well. and the skills learned can be used for an incredible amount of good. Discussion. Okay, I'm gonna. You can watch that in your own leisure because I can't. Okay, did I just read all that and then just. Okay. I just want to see if there's something else that bits that I've missed before. Okay, so that was finished. Okay. The ultimate guide to becoming an intelligence officer. Okay, I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna say bye for now. And I'll see you guys in the next. Bye.